Hello and welcome to this section. In this section, we will learn the special feature database, user widget. In this section, we mainly include the following contents. First, we will talk about the user widget and its feature, and then we will introduce the basic usage of user widget in the editor. Finally, we will talk about how the user widget sets a permission. So the first point, let us enter the feature overview. The essence of user widget is also a database. We further encapsulate it on the basis of the database to facilitate users to register and log in, as well as authority management and other feature. Its essence is a data table. At the same time, it provides the following main functions, including initiating the login behavior, obtaining the current user information, initiating the mobile phone mailbox registration behavior, resetting the password through the mobile phone mailbox, exiting the login, and user access control. Let's open the editor to learn how to use the user widget. First, let's take a look at an example we want to complete in this class. When we enter, it will display a login interface, and then let you enter a mobile phone number and password to log in. If we don't have such an account at the beginning, we can click the No Account here to register an account. I'll register here at will. Of course, if the calculation here is too complicated, you can click to refresh, and then click here to obtain the SMS verification code, and then it will prompt that a verification code has been sent. Then here we enter the verification code just sent, and then click a registration, and it will prompt that we have successfully registered and switched to such a registration. Let's enter a mobile phone number just now, then enter a password just entered, and then click a login. He will tell you that the login is successful, and then display one of your nicknames, and then click a login exit interface here. He will talk about a login interface here. If we forget the password, if yes, you can click an option to forget the password to reset the password. For example, here we reset the password, and then similarly here we enter the verification code, and then click confirm to reset the password, and the password will be reset. Then here we will enter the latest password, and then click a login. You can see that the login is successful again. Then note that as long as you complete a login, when you directly perform a refresh, it will not let you perform a repeated login. It will record your login status, which is actually the most commonly used function of user widget. So here we will complete a production of such an application in the editor. First of all, the first step is to build a basic UI. First, open our editor, and here we enter an application name. The application name is a user, and then click to create it. Then we can see which pages are there. This is an interface after login. The interface after login is the name above, and then the following is a button can be used to log out, and then we complete the login page first. Here, we add a page and change its name to the login page. The login page is very simple, just a text, and then add a button. Let's do a little layout. Change the alignment here to a center, and then leave a little space for it up and down. Then change the following one. Here comes a 230, then here comes a 40, and the font size is also reduced. Then here is an exit login, but we also deepen its background color and reduce its border fillet. Okay, the login interface is completed, and then we go to the next interface. Here we click one to exit the login. You can see that there is a login interface at the beginning. We intercept the login interface, and we will complete the production of this page. Similarly, we add a page here. We also change the name of this page, that is, our login page. Then the login page contains a box, then a login, and then the following two input boxes, a button and two texts. Similarly, in order to make such a box first, we need to use a DNA first, and the box is a vertical layout, so we first put a column here, and then the box is about 300 pixels. We set the width to 300. If we are not sure about the height, we will pre-give it about 400. Let's replace this side with an X, and then let's align the same side with a center. Then, the inside of a box here is white. So here we empty one of its colors, and then its border is like this. A color means that we should also design a border property, and set the width to the color of a border. Here, let's write it casually. The color of the border is easy to modify anyway, and then it has a certain border fillet, so let's set the fillet here, for example, a 4-pixel corner. Okay, and then there are 2 words to log in, so let's add one here text. This is our login. Next, there are 2 input boxes, which are to input the mobile phone and our password. Here, we first refine the style of this part, so that it is convenient. When we encounter other input boxes and buttons later, we can directly copy and paste them into one for use. Then here is our account. Click to register. Okay, then we add a little bit of screenwriter to each element, give him a superior screenwriter of 12, and then select such a column. We change its horizontal alignment to a central alignment, and then the height here. In fact, we can directly select a package, and then give him an additional point here. For example, if we have a 20 good login box, we will basically do a good job. We will change the font size a little smaller. If we have a good login UI, we will basically do a good job. Let's take a look at other UIs. Then let's take a look at the reset password. The reset password is actually very similar to login. The only difference is that there is such a horizontal layout of a verification code and the picture on the right. In fact, we can reuse it here. We intercept a box for resetting the password, then copy and paste the login page, and then change the name. This is our reset page. Let's change the login of rebuying some fish balls. Change a reset password called ours, then a mobile phone number, and then a password. Oh, let's change a password first. The content here is called please enter a password, and then the input type here is changed to a password, and then the reset page here is also the same. Please enter a new password, and we'll change it for you. Then, here is a verification code for such a horizontal layout and a picture. In fact, this is a horizontal layout. We add a line and put the line in the middle here. First, there is such an input box. Let's copy a copy of the input box and put it in it. Let's clear the background color of this line for us to see. Then, the left side should only occupy a little. Let's define it casually. For example, this side accounts for 150 pixels, and then the same right side should also occupy the restant area. In this line, let's change the width first. The width is a pixel of 250. Then, after praising some image verification codes on the left, we're still a little short on the right. We'll just copy a button for him. To reduce its width a little bit, let's take a look at 50. 50 bulls are a little too small. Here we'll give it a 70. Here we'll give it a 70. It can be calculated that this side occupies 150, and this side occupies 70, a total of 250, so the total gap here can be 30. Therefore, we will give him a 30 left outer margin here. Of course, if you think the interval is too small, we can increase it a little more here. For example, we give it a 90 here, and then we give it 10 locks on the left and outside, which is almost appropriate. Then we can copy and paste one or location code here to ask a question. Then there is a picture on the right below here. We will delete such a button and change it to a picture. Does widget just have a blank picture widget? Its width and height are 90 × 40, so the picture here is also 90 × 40, and then he needs to have a foreign screenwriter of 12. Here, we have a foreign screenwriter of 12. Of course, we can put the foreign screenwriter in the line, so let's cancel the upper screenwriter here, and don't write foreign screenwriters here. Then, give him a 12-pixel upper and outer screenwriter for the whole line, and then change its height to a package. Similarly, we also change it here. We don't want his upper and outer screenwriter here. We don't want to go to the outer side for the input box here. We change such a line to a 12-pixel upper and outer screenwriter as a whole. Then, change the height to a package. The left outer margin here is 10 pixels. It has not been set here. Here is a 10 pixel. Okay, then this is called obtaining the verification code, and then the following login button is changed, which is called confirming to reset the password. Then here is the existing account, click to log in, and then delete one here. This is called clicking to log in with the existing account. We also finished making such a reset page. Well, let's take another look at the next page, Besides the login and reset pages, there is also our registration page. Let's take a look at a UI of the registration industry, which is also very, very similar to our rehome. So here we are asked to intercept our registration and paste a copy of the reset here. This is not rehome, yes. What's this? This is our registration page. First, come up here and change it. This is called our registration. Then, please enter a nickname in addition to the mobile phone number. So here, we copy an additional mobile phone number and paste it here. The first one will be changed to 1. Please enter a nickname, then the mobile phone number, and then please enter the secret code, not a new password, and then a picture verification code. Here, please enter the verification code, and then the same here, please enter the SMS verification code. This may be authentication. It feels a little big. Here we can change it a little smaller, and then here is a registration. Okay, the same thing. Let's change it here. Please enter the verification code here, and then enter the picture verification code here. Okay, let's compare the UI of the registration industry, which has basically been completed, and then we will destroy it. So now we have a login page. If we don't have an account, we can click on the registration page to register. We have already talked about making feature. This time, we are going to learn a special feature database, which is one of our user widget. So when we select backend, we will add our user widget and user widget, which is such a leading widget. We can add it with a click. Then a series of actions, we are based on such a user widget to carry out a logical production. So here, we will first complete a production of registration business logic. When we need to complete a registration, we can use the forward logic to see what potential conditions I need to complete the registration of this action. So when I click the registration button, we will trigger an event. For example, what does it do when it is clicked? Let's call a user widget here to perform a function called mobile phone registration. We can see that when we go to perform mobile phone registration, it needs one of our mobile phone numbers. Where is the mobile phone number? Are we already here? Please enter a mobile phone number, right? Where is his SMS verification code? We can find out whether we have a content of a SMS verification code. Please enter here, and then this is a nickname. Where is the nickname? Is the nickname a content of the nickname? Please enter here, and then the password. Is the password a content of the password? Please enter, and then the password a type of user. We can ignore it here first. So in other words, through the click mode here, we already know where all the contents of an input box are, but there is a new problem here. What problem? The number of the mobile phone is input by myself, the nickname is input by myself, and the password is set by myself. Where does the SMS verification code come from? So here, where do you put it? Where do I get such a SMS verification code? So here, let's see how we can get such a SMS verification code. Since we want to get the short limit, we must get the SMS verification code through some event. Since it doesn't matter to get the SMS verification code, we will directly add an action group here. We call it getting the SMS verification code here. Then when we start with such an action, we will call such an action group user widget has a look at what functions it needs to obtain a text message verification code. When we click to obtain the text message verification code, we can see it. On his side, he needs to get an ID of the picture verification code, and the picture verification code, as well as a mobile phone number and a type. If we need to obtain the text message verification code, we must get a picture verification code can be used for one. Of course, we can click no here. If we don't need a code for a picture, we can send a message directly without a picture. However, it is very recommended to use the picture verification code here. Otherwise, if you encounter that kind of swipe, the price of your message will be very high while we still default on the use of our image printing code such a function. Since we need to use a picture frame code, it proves whether we need to get a picture. Since we need to use a picture verification code, it proves whether we need to send a picture horse. So let's do the things here first. We don't care about it first. We make up the logic in front of it. So here's a picture verification. How to get the picture verification code. We can choose our user widget. In the drop-down menu, we can select an access image verification code. You can see that it is very easy to directly select an access image, and it will be full. Then we click a callback here. In the callback, we can first see what content is in the callback. You can see that it can get an ID of a picture printing code and a picture. What is the picture? Is the picture displayed with us? So here I understand. Since I want me to get an ID and a picture here, do I want to find a variable to save it, and do I want to display it until the picture is coded here, and then let everyone read such a picture and input the content in the picture? So here we add such a numerical variable under the page, which is called. It's called our picture ID. So what do we do when he goes to get the picture verification code? We assign a value to our image ID, and the assigned content is an ID of the image verification code. What else do we have to do? Are we going to assign a value to our current picture? What is the content of the assignment? Is it a picture in such a picture verification code? So through such an action, can I get such a picture directly? Let's think about when we need to get such a picture. First of all, if I go to the registration page, there should be a default picture here. So it doesn't allow us to call the function of getting a picture code here to set a new picture here, assign a value to our picture step by step. Since we want to verify a mobile phone number here, do we have to judge a content in the mobile phone number here, and then we can choose whether to register for verification, log in for verification, find the mobile phone, or reset our password. What are our conditions here? Is it our registration? So here we directly select a registration verification, and then we can add a callback here. If it succeeds, why? We will let our system interface display a prompt. What is it called? It's called verification at sending, and of course, what if it fails? If it fails, we will let the system interface display a prompt. What is it called? It is called a failure reason for sending results. Of course, when we get the SMS verification code, we can set some preconditions. For example, if he doesn't input the content of the picture or the mobile phone number, can he not call this service? So we also add such a series of restrictions on the front end. So what is the verification code to be sent here? What's the situation? One of the content types entered here is a mobile phone. What else should I do? Is it also necessary to ensure that it has entered one of our verification codes? So here we also need to ensure that the content type of the image verification code is not empty. Is it meaningful to send only when these two conditions are met at the same time? If neither of these two contents has been entered, is it meaningless to send? But if people don't fill in these two contents, can we remind them? For example, to display a prompt called write the required content, through such a mode, can we send such a SMS verification code? So if the sending has been completed, can we complete a process of this piece? We can enter the mobile phone number, then the user can enter a nickname, enter a password, and finally get the SMS verification code sent, enter it here, and then complete a registration process. All the content is ready, then we will start a front-end verification. So we add a condition here. If the content type of the nickname is empty, what does it mean? Explain whether there is no nickname. So here we will display a prompt called please enter a nickname, and then we can copy and paste the same here. What we choose here is to choose the other conditions, and the rest will only execute any of them. Therefore, there is no nickname problem here. What else is there besides the nickname? Please enter the content of the mobile phone number. The type is not the type, not what type is not the mobile phone, and he will be prompted here. Please enter the mobile phone in the correct format, and let him copy and paste it here. What does he want to verify except the mobile phone number? To verify the password is to enter the content of our password. If its type is empty, it proves that it has not entered the password, right? So here we will prompt him to enter the password, and then copy and paste another copy. What else? In addition to the password, is there another SMS verification code? Please enter the content of the SMS verification code. If the type is empty, you will be prompted to enter the SMS verification code. In this way, do we enter another nickname, mobile phone, password and SMS verification code? When he fails to do all the conditions, finally we will do another one. In this case, we will perform another mobile phone registration 1 feature. This is not to ensure that the content of its 4 input boxes is all in accordance with our format for 1 input A. Then here, if he completes a registration, we also add a callback here. If he successfully completes a registration, what do we do? Let's display a prompt through one of our system interfaces. What's it called? It's called successful registration, and then what do you do next? Do you help him jump the page to the login page? So frontend jumps to the page. Where is the page? Is this our login page, and then add a callback here? What if he fails? We will select one of our system interfaces to display a prompt, which is a failure reason of our registration results. In this way, we have completed a function of account registration. Let's verify it. Here, we first enter a nickname, then enter the mobile phone number, then enter the password, then enter the value, and then click A to obtain the verification code. He told me that the image verification code failed. Let's see why the live broadcast is live. Let's take a look. Oh, the token of the image is a string, and here we choose a numerical variable to store it. Therefore, here we change it into a text variable, which is our picture ID. Then we replace the value here with a value of the picture ID here, and then copy the copied content, which is equal to a picture ID of a picture code, and then the same picture here is also changed into a picture ID here value. You can see whether there is no reference and no event in this piece after the replacement. Here we can delete it directly. In this way, we call such a picture ID. Then we can use it to check it again, input the nickname, the mobile phone number around the password, and then click to get a result of a verification code here. Verification code, you can see that the verification code has been successfully sent. Then here, let's enter. We just received such a verification code, and then click registration. We can see that he told us that the registration has been successful, so now we have gone through the way of registration, and then completed the registration. What's next? Are we going to complete a login? What do you do when he is clicked? Do you directly call a user widget on our side to perform a mobile phone password login? Then what is his mobile phone number? The mobile phone number on this side is equal to a content of the mobile phone number on this side. Then the password here is to enter a content in the password, and then there is a valid period of a token here. Then if you fill it in here, he will tell you how long it will expire. Expiration is equivalent to no saved login status. If you refresh again, you will have to log in again. Of course, when we log in here, we still perform a verification in advance. If the content type of a mobile phone number is not a mobile phone, what are we doing? Let's prompt. What's the name of the prompt here? Please enter the mobile phone number here, and then copy and paste the same. Under other conditions, if he does not enter the password, the content type of the password here is empty, which is called please enter the password. In the case of not doing both, under other conditions, if he loses his mobile phone and our password, we will initiate a login here. Of course, after completing the login, we will add a series of callbacks. That is, if he logs in successfully. Why does he log in successfully? First, we will prompt him through a prompt called a login success, and then we are not here in a successful login industry should jump over so through the front end jump to the page where. Is it possible to log into one of our login to become industry, that is, a page after we log in, and then there is a nickname on the same login page, so we assign a value to it here. What is the assignment? Is it a nickname in the login result? This is the case of successful login. What if the login fails? If we have the same failure here, we will also remind others of a failure reason called a login result here. In this way, has our login been done well? In the same way, we complement the logic. For example, if he forgets the password, when he is clicked, which page will we jump to through the front end? Will we jump to one of our reset pages, and then we can copy the same event, and then come to one of our registrations. If he is not finished, just jump to our registration page, where we enter our account, then enter our password, and then click a few to log in. You can see that he will prompt us that we have successfully logged in. Then, of course, on the Login Success page, if we click to log out, do we want to log out of a login status? Then this is very simple, so let's go to an interface after we log in, and we will supplement this logic. What do we do when he is clicked to realize our logout? Of course, if you want to log out and log in, you may fail to log out. So here we have to make a judgment. If you say that he has successfully logged out, why do you want to prompt him first? Here we choose a prompt, which is called a successful logout. In fact, it has already been successful. Does frontend want to let him jump to our login page when we are here? We will jump to the page, which page to jump to, and jump to one of our login pages. In the same way, if he fails, just the same thing, we should give a prompt through our interface and display the prompt, which is called a failure reason of logout. In this way, we can check whether the logout function is well done. Here we still log in first, then enter the password here, click to log in, and then log in successfully. Similarly, we click to log out, and log in successfully. In this way, our login, our registration, and our logout are completed, and then we make up the logic of resetting the password. Similarly, the verification code is obtained here, so what does it mean? Explain whether you also need to obtain a picture verification code. Have we just made such a set of logic on the registration side? We copy the 3 logic, and then paste it in the reset page. First, we still get a verification code, and then do we need to modify some contents of the verification code? Do you want to change the picture printed code here? Do you want to change the picture here to a content of a picture in here? Then, do you also need to modify the SMS verification code here? Where is the mobile phone number here? Is it a content of a mobile phone number here, and is the picture verification code here a content of the picture verification code here? Then, the picture ID here is still equal to our ID here. There is no need to change it. Then, the picture here is the content of horse. Here is a content of our picture verification code. Then, the same mobile phone number here should also be changed into a content of our mobile phone number. Here is not registration verification. What are you doing here? Here is reset, just here we'll change it to a reset password, and then the following logic won't have to be changed. When we reuse part of the action group, we should pay attention to that there is part of the logic. Maybe we need to rebind it. For example, here we directly copy it from our registration, so the widget bound here is also the widget of the registration industry. We need to rebind it through the click mode, and then do the same. What do you do when the page is displayed? Or go to one of our get picture captcha of an action. Then select a failure reason called reset result from the drop-down menu here. Do we have such a password reset function? Let's verify it. Here we have a preview. First, enter the mobile phone number, and then enter the new password. Okay, the new password here. Because the password input box needs to be changed, that is, we change the input type of the password input box to a password. Similarly, we have a preview, and then the duty is equal to a 4. Then click to get the verification code, and the verification code has been set yes, then we enter the verification code and click to confirm the reset password. He told me that the reset was successful. Let's enter a new password and click login to see that the login was successful. Then we can flexibly exit. Then, if I forget, I can click to reset the password. If I have an account, I can click to log in. If I don't have an account, I can click to register. Then there's the last point. If I refresh now, it won't go to our corresponding page, which means that it doesn't record our login certificate status. How do we make the login status? Let's sort out the object data on our side first. The first page that comes in should be our loading page, right? Then, after loading, the most commonly used should be our registration and our login, then reset, and then the page after we log in. So how do we keep a login status? This is actually a very important point. We must remember. Here, when the page is initialized, what do? What am I going to do by calling one of our backstage directly? To initiate a function to obtain current user information. If we add a conditional judgment after he has completed such acquisition, what does it mean if we say whether the current user information is anonymous, wait or not? Explain whether I can get his user information or not. If I can get the user information, I will prove that a login state is saved in the browser. So in this case, I can directly go to our front end to jump to which page, jump to a page of our login number, and then log in for our side A. Text of a page is assigned, and the assigned content is a nickname in our current user information. Then of course, if the status of one of his users cannot be obtained at all under the other conditions, then whether he is going to initiate a login at this time, so we will jump to a page through the front end, jump to where, jump to our login page, and then complete the whole process of production. Let's take another look. Now, because we don't have our login status, let's initiate a login here, then log in here, then enter the password here, and then click login. You can see that the login is successful. Then I perform a refresh here. Since I can get my login status, any refresh on my side will directly jump to the interface after I have logged in. So this is also the most commonly used function in user widget, that is, it can record our login status, explain a login of user widget, and then we will talk about how user widget allocates a permission after registration. The so-called permission allocation is the service in the backend. Which main users can use it and which users can't use it. So here we add a service. For example, this service is called a return. Here we define it very simply. Here we directly return a parameter. When the current service is called, we directly return a parameter, and we return a 123 to the front end, and then the same thing, here we have another VIP feedback. Similarly, here we also add a parameter, this is called a VIP, and then the same thing, this is not returned through the current service settings, we will return a 999, is it through such a definition, we have got these two services at present, and then we will give our one user manages one permission. First, let's conduct a role management. Let's add a role here. Click a plus sign here. A role with a plus sign here is called one of our VIPs, and then click to determine whether there is a VIP user, and an anonymous user here. Then let's have another user here. Call our ordinary users and click OK. Then here, we allow VIP to have all permissions. Then, the service returned by VIP for ordinary users can't be used. Let's click a saved setting, and then let's manage the use type. For example, the first user type is called make a VIP, and then we add a role, which includes a function of our VIP, and then we add a common user here, and then add a role, which is a common user here. Let's save one of our settings, and then we can manage a role with one permission for our users here. For example, the user types here, but I'll click again. There is a difference between VIP and ordinary users. Let me show you the difference between a VIP and an ordinary user. I change it to a VIP and click Save. Then we add two such buttons after the user logs in. We copy and paste two copies of this button.er, the setting here is wrong. We set ordinary users to log out, and then here is one of our logout. Okay, come to our hospital to have a look. First, I adjust the ordinary interface, 123 returns, and then I return to VIP interface 9. Then here, I log out first, and then I go here to re-register an account, and then click a registration. Does this complete the registration of an account? Then we log in here. After registration, we change the permissions for it. Here is an ordinary user. Let's save the changes. Then we can preview again. At present, we are Xiaohei here. Then we can call the normal interface to make it return successfully. Then, if I want to call the VIP interface, you can see that it won't let me call it. Why? Because its permission is not enough for me to call such a VIP service. We have a very simple permission management here. So in other words, all the services in our backend can be determined in the role management, that is, what users and permissions can be used. If a user who is currently logged in does not have sufficient permissions, an error will be reported directly. Therefore, after we design a full set of services, we can first define different roles and a series of services that each role can own or call in role management, and then add different services in user management roles, and then add a series of different roles in user type management, and finally update a user type here, and then pay attention to an update on the user type side. In addition to clicking and selecting on our side, we can also update it through event, so it is equivalent to that we can dynamically configure a user and the system he owns column permissions. The above is all about this section. Thank you for watching.